10월 17일 7시 6분.
Chapter 3. The Goose with the Golden Eggs.
There once was a man who had a very fine goose. Every day the goose laid a golden egg. The man soon became rich. But as he became rich, he became greedy. The goose must be gold inside, he thought to himself. I will open it, get
So he killed the goose, but he found no gold. The man
He thought
cried and
to
said, I should have been happy with
the goose must be gold inside. He thought to himself, I will open her and get all the gold at once. So he killed the goose, but he found no gold. The man cried and said, I should have been happy with the golden egg each day. Sometimes greed makes people do foolish things.
One day, two men were traveling together.
They suddenly came across a bear.
One
One of the men climbed quickly into a tree and tried to hide himself among its branches. The other man fell down and lay on the ground. When the bear came up and smelled him all over, the man held his breath and pretended to be dead. The bear soon left him because, as many people say, a bear will not touch a dead body. When the bear had gone, the traveler in the tree came down to join his friend. As a little joke, he asked, What did the bear whisper in your ear? His friend answered very seriously. He told me never travel with a friend who runs away when danger comes. A true friend is with you in good times and bad times.
The Shepherd Boy and the Wolf.
There once was a young shepherd boy. He watched his sheep at the bottom of a mountain. He was very lonely, watching the sheep all day by himself. So one day he thought of a plan to have some fun. He ran down toward the village, calling out, Wolf, wolf. The kind villagers came out to help him, and some of them stayed with him for a while. This made the boy very happy. He decided to try the trick again a few days later. Again he ran to the village shouting, Wolf, wolf. Again the villagers came to help him, but they didn't see any wolves. But shortly after this, the wolf really did come out. Soon the wolf became bolder. The sheep. The boy again cried out even louder than before, Wolf, wolf. But the villagers had been tricked twice before. They thought the boy was fooling them again, because none of them went to help the boy. The wolf ate all his sheep. No one believes a liar even when they tell the truth.
The Milkwoman and her pail.
A farmer's daughter was carrying a pail of milk. I can make some money from selling this milk, she thought. That money will be enough to buy at least 300 eggs. The eggs will produce about 250 chickens. When the chickens grow, I will sell them in a market. After selling the chickens, I will have enough money to buy a new dress. I will wear this beautiful new dress to party. Then all the best young men will ask me to marry them. But I will refuse all the men and just enjoy the parties. The young woman was enjoying her thoughts so much she didn't see a stone on the road. Suddenly, her foot hit the stone and she fell. She dropped the pail of milk. The milk disappeared into the ground, taking away all of her plans. Do not count your chickens before they are hatched.
The boys and the frogs. One day, a group of boys were playing by the side of a small lake.
One day, a group of boys were playing by the side of a small lake. Some of the boys threw stones into the water for fun. A lot of frogs lived in this little lake, and they kept getting hit by the stones. The boys threw. Finally, a wise old frog put his head up out of the water and said, "Boys, please don't throw stones at us. We are only playing," said the boys. "I know that," said the frogs, "but your stones hurt us. You may throw stones for fun, but your fun causes us great pain." One person's pleasure may be another's pain.
A miser sold most of his land to buy a shiny piece of gold.
A miser sold most of his land to buy a shiny piece of gold. He burned the gold in the ground by an old wall and went to look at it every day. One day, one of his workers saw the miser going to the wall and followed him. Soon the worker discovered the secret of hidden treasure. When the miser was gone, he dug up the gold and stole it. The next day, the miser found that his gold had been stolen. The miser cried and cried in anger and sadness. A neighbor saw the miser crying and found out what was wrong. He said, "Please don't cry so much. You should go and get a stone, but bury in the ground and pretend the stone is a piece of gold. It will be just the same as when the gold was there, because you never did anything with the gold when you had it. The true value of money is not having it, but using it wisely."
Chapter 4. The Ants and the Grasshopper.
The ant and the grasshopper lived in the same big field. The ant always worked hard and tired to prepare and harvest enough food for winter. Their happy neighbor, the grasshopper, couldn't understand them. He just ignored them and kept singing. When the first frost came, it ended the work of the ant and the party of the grasshopper. One winter day, the ant was ants were busy spreading their grain in the sun to dry. The grasshopper was nearly died with hunger, so he went to the ant to ask for some food. "Good day to you, kind neighbor," said the grasshopper. "Won't you lend me a little food? I will certainly repay you before this time next year."
Why don't you have any food of your own?
"Why don't you have any food of your own?" asked an old ant. "There was a lot of food in the big field all summer. What did you do?" "Oh," said the grasshopper, forgetting his hunger, "I sang all day long and all night long." "Well then," said the ant, "if you can sing all summer, you should dance all winter."
And the old ant
And went back to her work singing the ant song. "We ants never borrow, we ants never lend. Don't forget to prepare for bad times, even during good times."
The ant and the dove. An ant was walking by the river one day
An ant was walking by the river one side and said to himself, "How nice and cool this water looks. I must drink some of it." As he began to drink, his foot slipped and he fell in. "Oh, somebody, please help me or I will die," cried the ant. A dove sitting in a tree over the river heard him, and threw him a leaf. "Climb up on the leaf," said the dove, and you will float to the river's side." The ant climbed up on the leaf, and the wind blew it to the shore, and he stepped up on dry and again. "Thank you, kind dove," said the ant as he went home. "You have saved my life, and I wish I could do something for you." "Goodbye," said the dove. Be careful not to fall in again." A few days later, when the dove was busy building her nest, the ant saw a hunter raising his gun to shoot her. The ant ran quickly and bit the nest's foot very hard. He cried, "Oh, oh," and dropped to his gun. This surprised the dove, and she flew away. After the hunter was gone, the dove came back to her nest. "Thank you, my little friend," she said. "You have saved my life." A little ant jumped for joy because he had been able to help the kind dove. One kind act brings another.
The frog and the ox.
One day, an ox was walking in a wet field. He accidentally put his foot on a family of young.
"Oh, Mother," he said, "while we were playing, a really big horse stepped on us." Asked the old
As
frog,
big, how big?
She sucked in air larger and said, "As big
as this."
Oh,
"Oh," said the little frog, much bigger than that."
Well, was it this big?
Well, was it this big? She sucked in even more air. "Oh, Mother, it was much bigger than that.
So please
Stop sucking in air, you might hurt yourself."